Time is a concept that governs our lives in many ways. It is often said that time is money, but its value goes far beyond mere financial terms. Understanding the value of time can change how we approach our daily activities, relationships, and long-term goals. Time is a resource that is finite. Once it passes, it can never be reclaimed. This makes it essential to use it wisely. Many people take time for granted, thinking they have plenty of it. However, as life unfolds, we often realize that time is our most precious asset. To illustrate the value of time, let's consider a story that revolves around two friends, Alex and Jamie. They grew up in the same neighborhood and shared a passion for adventure. One summer, they decided to go on a hiking trip to a beautiful, remote mountain. They planned for weeks, mapping out their route and packing supplies. As they set out, excitement filled the air, and they felt that this trip would be one of their most memorable experiences. On their first day, they hiked for hours, laughing and sharing stories along the way. As they climbed higher, the view became more breathtaking. The sun was shining, and the sky was a brilliant blue. However, as the day progressed, they lost track of time. They enjoyed their adventure so much that they didn't pay attention to how late it had become. Eventually, they decided to set up camp for the night. They built a fire and roasted marshmallows, feeling happy and carefree. As darkness fell, they realized they had not planned for the cold temperatures that night. Without adequate gear, they found themselves shivering in their sleeping bags. Alex started to worry, thinking about how they had wasted valuable daylight hours. Jamie, on the other hand, reassured him that they could figure things out in the morning. They fell asleep with the hope that the next day would be better. In the middle of the night, Alex woke up to a strange sound. He got out of his sleeping bag and peeked outside. To his shock, he saw a thick fog rolling in, covering the landscape. The once clear path they had hiked now looked unrecognizable. Panic set in as he realized that they could easily get lost in the morning if they didn't leave early. He woke up Jamie and explained the situation, but Jamie insisted they should sleep more since it was still dark. Alex felt torn. He wanted to rest, but he also knew that time was slipping away. The fog would only make their journey more difficult. After much debate, he decided to take action. He gathered their supplies quietly, determined to leave as soon as dawn broke. He kept an eye on the horizon, eager for the first light. When the sun finally rose, he could barely see the familiar trail. The fog was thicker than he had anticipated. As they set off, they realized the importance of being prepared. They had wasted time the previous day, and now they were faced with the consequences. Every step felt like a gamble. They were forced to be extra cautious as they navigated through the fog. They encountered challenges that required them to make quick decisions, like whether to go left or right at a fork in the trail. Each choice weighed heavily on Alex's mind, as he kept thinking about how valuable their time had become. After several hours of hiking, they finally broke free of the fog and found themselves on a stunning mountaintop. The view was unlike anything they had seen before. They could see valleys stretching for miles and rivers winding through the landscape. The moment was breathtaking, and they felt a surge of accomplishment. However, that feeling was overshadowed by the lingering realization of how their poor time management had made their adventure more challenging than it needed to be. As they took in the view, Alex shared his thoughts with Jamie. He explained how their failure to respect time had turned what could have been a carefree experience into a stressful journey. Jamie listened and reflected on the day's events. They both realized that time is a limited resource. Every moment spent on trivial matters is a moment that could have been used for something more meaningful. On their descent, the friends had a serious conversation about their future. They discussed their dreams and aspirations. They wanted to travel more, learn new skills, and make the most of their lives. They understood that if they wanted to achieve their goals, they needed to value time more seriously. They made a pact to hold each other accountable in the future, ensuring they used their time wisely and purposefully. This experience taught them that time is not just about clocking hours, but about making meaningful choices. They returned home with a new perspective, excited to implement their plans. They began prioritizing their activities, cutting out distractions that previously consumed their time. They focused on what mattered most, pursuing their passions, spending time with loved ones, and growing as individuals. Over the following months, their lives began to transform. They enrolled in courses to learn new skills, planned weekend adventures, and built stronger connections with friends and family. They discovered that time spent on meaningful activities was far more rewarding than watching hours of television or scrolling through social media. They even started a small project together, documenting their adventures and sharing lessons about the importance of valuing time. As they looked back on their hiking trip, they could see how that single experience had profoundly impacted their lives. They realized that moments of urgency, like the fog that had surrounded them, often prompt important lessons. They learned that in life, just like on that mountain, time can be a guiding force, or it can lead to confusion and regret. The value of time is often recognized through experience. Many people go through life without considering how their choices affect their time. They may spend years chasing fleeting pleasures, only to find themselves yearning for deeper fulfillment later on. The story of Alex and Jamie serves as a reminder that time is a precious commodity. We should strive to make choices that enrich our lives rather than diminish them. In conclusion, the value of time is profound and multifaceted. It shapes our experiences, relationships, and futures. Just as Alex and Jamie learned, time is a limited resource that should be cherished and used wisely. It is not just about filling our days, but about enriching our lives with meaningful activities and connections. By understanding the significance of time, we can navigate our lives more purposefully and ensure that we leave no room for regret. Time, after all, is the one thing we cannot get back once it is gone. So let us value every moment and make it count.